means and all the things that it comes from, right? So there's different types of inflows and outflows. So you have your operating. That's just like your revenue, right? Money that's coming in. You're selling your product and you have money coming in. And then you have investing. So this is looking at like if you're investing in real estate, like you purchase a building and you're only occupying a certain amount. Or this could be investing in equipment that then can turn around and create more revenue coming in, right? And then financing. So you finance a building or you finance get a line of credit that can help with that. Those are different ways that cash flow can come in and out of the business to help you during some of these downturns, or if you're looking to purchase different things like that. It's not just money that's sitting in your bank account. That's the biggest thing. And to me, honestly, this is probably the most important thing that a business can understand is their cash flow and how money moves in and out of your business, because you have to be able to speak to that. So I love this, and this is a completely free tool that we'll send out, and some digital workbooks that we'll reference out to you guys. But this is the free cash flow analysis tool that you can go. You just go to chase.com/cash flow analysis. I would highly recommend that you all do this within the next 30 days. This is going to tell you, hey, I'm doing great, or it's going to humble you, right? Either way, we can't avoid it. We need to understand so that we know how to move and be proactive versus reactive. So it's a great tool. So what it basically is going to do is that you're going to go in there, it's going to prompt you, your inflows. So operating, sales of product, location, party supplies, how much you're getting for that. And then you put the date, right? You just input that and you put the categories. If you have financing on there, if you got a loan, it's going to calculate that for you. And then same thing with your outflows. So payroll, payment to suppliers, paying for marketing, things like that. It's going to add it. And then what it's going to produce is this beautiful graph that Jose, my colleague, loves. He loves graphs and all kinds of
Bar
data
graphs,
like
pie
this,
charts,
right?
all the above.
All of it.
Fantastic. Love data.
But this is going to show you, because a lot of times, if I were to ask you, do you know if you're seasonal? Do you know if you have downturns? Do you understand how your money, what does it look like? So this will print this out. And so this is something you can do. I've had clients that do this monthly. I've had people do this, quarterly, and then look over it year over year. But it's a great tool and it's completely free. And I would highly recommend to do this. This will give you a good high level insight of how cash flow is running through your business. And
Hey,
sometimes
Ash.
they have, yeah.
Oh, real quick, I want to tell everybody. For those who I put it in the chat for the link, so if anybody's interested, it's in the chat there for you. Sorry about
Thank
that.
you. So this is something I would just highly recommend doing. Even if I think QuickBooks might offer it, your CPA might do it, but this is good to have for you just right offhand so you can take a look at those things. So again, this will be in the digital workbooks that will get sent out to you guys after the class.
And then one of the things we love about that, just to add to that, Ashley, it'll give you a really good idea if your business is seasonal. Because if you fill it out for the year, even quarterly, if you do it just, you'll really see that. And as a banker, as a lender, they want to know that. They want to know when are your downturns. Because I will tell you, if your business is slow during the summer months, maybe our winter visitors aren't here with anymore, and maybe your business depending on that, maybe that's not the best time to apply. Or even if it is the time to apply, right? Make sure you have that conversation, let her know, hey, my numbers are low because I'm depending on X, Y, and Z. So I think that's a great tool. Sorry about that, Ashley.
It's okay, but I'm glad you said that because it also helps your conversation. Because we're talking about if you're getting capital, if you're talking to an investor or anybody that's talking about your business, you can use this as a reference point. So yes, I am in a downturn in the summer, but come fall and the winter, I go back up. Now you're able to have a different conversation, which is really important, especially when you're going for lending. So good call out, Jose.
Thank
I'll kick
you.
it over to you for maximizing cash in.
Perfect. So now we kind of got an idea of like, okay, how money is working. But one of the things that we really got to talk about is we're going to talk about what are the ways that we can make the most of our business opportunity. And I'm going to steal this from Ashley. Customers equal revenue, right? So we have to identify what is the best way to attach my clients. So we're going to talk about 4 ways for that business opportunity. The first one is going to be, drum roll, know your competition. Okay. This is a big one in this market right now because obviously you have to know your competition. And one of the examples that I like to bring, actually, you can go to the next slide for me, please. One of the big examples I like to bring up is McDonald's and Burger King, right? We're not going to take a poll. If you're a Burger King fan, the Golden Arch, I mean, the the king, or if you're a Golden Arches fan, doesn't matter. But here's one thing that they do, right? McDonald's and Burger King always follow each other. If you guys ever notice, they're always around each other. They're always around the same location. Is because they know their competition. They know that they sell the same product, but obviously they differ. So one of the things that we always recommend our business owners to do is know your competition to see how they've changed in the last year. Right. Think about who your clients are, right? And even like JP Morgan Chase, right? People look at us to see what we're doing, but we're looking at other banks to see what they're doing. And that's how you should really attack your business, just to see, because at the end of the day, that is the revenue pool. Everybody has a customer base, which equals revenue. So we really want to see that.
I'll also challenge you guys. When have you guys done a competitive analysis or market research? When's the last time you do that? That's something you
Mhm.
should definitely be doing annually because the markets change. You need to understand what your competition's doing. It's not anything negative, it's actually really smart. And actually, bankers will ask you that. It goes kind of back to your business plan. Looking at that, that is something you should be looking at annually at a minimum to see what that is. So good call out, Jose.
Yep, absolutely. So another thing that we provide, and it'll be in the digital workbook that we're going to send to everybody, is a competitive analysis graph. What this graph does, I think you can go to the next one, actually. It'll blow it up a little bit. Perfect. What this graph does is you go in there and put in what your price and your values are, right? So, for instance, one of the other things that we talk about is like Rolexes, right? Rolexes have a high price, a lot of value, but that doesn't mean that they're the only watch company out there in the market, right? You have to find out what your niche is, what you are, and also see the value of yourself. Obviously, the first thing I'm gonna tell you, and we've seen this, don't undervalue yourself. But also let's be humble and not overvalue ourselves and say, hey, you know what? I have a $25 burger. It's like we really have to find out what it is and where you sit in the market. And that's a great tool for you. The other one is to segment your customers. So segmenting your customers is really one because you really want to understand who your clients are and how can you expand on that business. Right. So as you get started, the first one that we're going to talk about is your customers, right? There's four different categories that we're going to talk about. Once again, digital workbook has a great tool for you as well. But the first one that I will challenge everybody is to know your current existing customer base, right? If you have, I don't care if you have 1,000, if you have 10 clients, whatever your customers are, find out who they are and put them in these categories, because then you can market to them and you can strategically go after more business or keep their business, retain their business strategically. The first one is your best customer, right? When they shop with you, they spend a lot. These are the best ones. What type of people fall into this category? What are your sales goals? If you have staff, how are we going to keep digging into that well? And the other one is how we're going to treat these people. Loyalty is a big thing, right? A lot of people are loyal, especially in small businesses. We're very loyal to them, but you also want to make sure that you're loyal to us. Are you telling us about things that's coming up? People want to feel included. They want to feel special, right? So these are the customers that you really want to think about. The sustaining customers, they don't spend a lot, but they shop frequently and they're loyal, right? These are great. They don't spend a lot, but what can you do to increase those sales, right? How can we take this client and make them the best client? Maybe they're getting their product from somewhere else. I mean, if you're selling a widget, great. Are you buying it from two or three manufacturers? If you are, how can I be maybe, two-thirds of those manufacturers rather than just what's a third of them, right? And then you can have these sales goals for your teams, and then how to reach out to them. How can you incentivize them to spend a little bit more with you, right? And then the other one is the lookalike customer. This is the best one. This is the one that's had the biggest opportunity right now, and right now, like in the fastest time frame. They think about the who are current customers but shop somewhere else, right? So if you have people walking into Burger King, you're like, great, how can I make them come into McDonald's? What are they offering over there that we're not offering? Or how can I incentivize them? No, obviously you're not going to get every customer right now. Every burger lover is going to go to McDonald's. But one of the things you can talk about is how can I at least gain that revenue? How can I have that strategy with my team to make sure they know this are the opportunity for us? Because those are the biggest ones that we can get into. And like I said, those are the fastest one. The turnaround time from them becoming a prospect to becoming a client, a customer, all that for you. Right. And then this is one that we always talk about. I know in the lending world, Ash and I, when we were out in the field doing sales and loans and all that fun stuff, we always thought about, the whale customer, right? The one that's going to take your business to the next level. And maybe you might not have that person right now or that business in mind right now, but think about who they are. Because eventually, what if working with JP Morgan Chase is a goal for you? What if it's saying like, I sell pens and JP Morgan Chase has so many different promotional pens. It's where we have like over 100 different pens that we have, right? Every line of business actually has a different pen. But like, what if you're a pen manufacturer and that's enough operating for you? That could take you to the next level. Or maybe you want to be work with Walmart, or you want to go with like an Office Max or one of these large manufacturers for or a large distributor of pens, right? Think about who those are. And it doesn't have to be these giant ones, but maybe think of somebody locally. Maybe you want to work with your city. Maybe you want to work with your county. Right? These are the opportunities that exist out there because now you can kind of cater yourself and then start learning. What can I do a little bit differently to get that insight? So just a thought for everybody. What new insights have you discovered recently by your customer? Has anybody worked with the customer today that they're like, you know what, I didn't know that, and that helped me close the sale? We'll open it up to everybody if we have a couple seconds actually, to
Yeah.
see if anybody has some insight that they've had.
Or even have done customer segmentation. Has anybody done that? Has anybody actually taken the time and done that over the last year? And if you did, what's an example of how that helped your business? Don't be shy, guys. I know it's early, but we don't bite, I promise. We're not teachers. We're not going to grade you.
We had a great question come in, Ashley and Jose, to
Yeah.
the chat around like how do you find your competitive information if they're not necessarily posting that online, things like price transparency and things like that. Any suggestions there?
Yeah, so I'll jump in. There's a couple things. So there is one thing, tools that almost all banks have, and it's called vertical IQ. So if you at the end want to get information, we have this system that pulls up industry information where it talks about the marketing, the pricing, what the business is doing. It gives informational information. So that's one way you could talk to your bank or your banker about that. The second thing is go to their website, go to their store, go look like like when people go on dates, right? And their friends are like, I'm gonna go check them out before you go in there. Go do that with your business. Go check them out. Go peep the scene, see what's going on, and go there and buy something. Talk about it. Engage with them. And I think that's a good way to get it. Looking at their website, going into if they have a storefront, go into the storefront, call, have questions. And honestly, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm trying to take your business. Have a conversation with them, talk to them. There could be potential for collaboration. There's different ways to do it. But I think the biggest thing is just start somewhere and just do it. Jose, did I miss anything that you think of that you can think
No,
of?
that's a great one. I've even reached out to like sales reps and vendors that actually work at those companies. I mean, people love to talk about what they do. I mean, I know I do. Actually, I know definitely you do. But those are definitely things that you guys can think about it and just talk to them and say, hey, what's it look like? What's the value? What's all this? And I think, like I said, I think people are more open to help you out and want to help other people because obviously there's plenty of business no matter what industry you're in. All right, for great question. Please keep them coming. So now that we talked about separating the four different clients, what's the value? What's the purpose? And like I was mentioning, tailor your communication, right? Reward loyalty and identify new audiences. Because one of the biggest things that we always say is it is so much harder to onboard a new client than it is to keep an existing one. Okay. So those are the ones that you really want to talk about. Because if you have your best clients, reward loyalty. Thank you so much. I mean, those punch cards, coffee punch cards, do those still exist? I hope they do.
I
But those
have them.
coffee punch, you have them? Okay, perfect. Those coffee punch cards, right? All that is the loyalty reward. You buy 10 cups of coffee with me, you get your 11th one free, right? That really does incentivize people to come back. It's like, oh, I got a free coffee. And typically what they do is you get a free coffee, then you get a free donut or you get a free, pastry or something with it. You spend money with it. So that's what I'm trying to say is you identify new audiences and you really find out where is my opportunity? Because a lot of the times when we meet with business owners, and Ashley, you can probably help me out with this, is they say, well, where do I get business? Where do I go? And most of the business is sitting in your existing book of business. Because even for us, when we were lenders, first thing I would say is once we did a loan, once the client was happy with us, we did everything, I looked at him and said, perfect, who can you refer me to? And you probably know a lot of people within the industry that you can refer to. So take advantage of those audiences.
I would agree. You just got to take the time. You have to separate. You can't do mass marketing. Mass marketing is
No,
well, I'll take that back. In some circumstances, yes, if you're talking about your business, but if you're trying to be very targeted and specific, you have to understand that audience. So like you have a younger audience, you can't do the same marketing that you would do for an older audience and be on Instagram versus Facebook, right? We need to be intentional. Customers are revenue and that's cash flow. So let's be very intentional of going to go get our money. We're not doing this just cause, right? I don't think anybody's in here just to do it, right? So let's be very proactive and intentional with that so that we can gain those new audience, and new customers, which equal revenue, right? So that's the beauty of segmentation. And I would highly recommend doing this again, like I said, at least minimally once a year.
absolutely. So the other one we talk about is consider pricing. This is going to be huge right now, right? Habits of cost, habits have changed, costs have shifted, competitors are trapped in new strategy, right? Things are going up. Inflation is a word that we keep hearing about. It's going to happen, but you really have to understand you're not doing this for free. You're not doing this for fun. You have to see what your cost is on everything, right? Find out how much it actually costs you to do a service, right? Your car, your wear and tear, your time, right? Your time means a lot. Like I said, I'm a big work-life balance guy, and I tell all my business owners, especially my entrepreneurs and people in the small business world, you have to make time for yourself. You have to make time for your family. So you have to understand what is my time worth? How much is everything that I'm doing? So how can we incentivize people to buy more with us, right? After we consider prices, bundle items, discount for volume orders. How many Costco fans are out there, right? That's the one of the biggest ones. Yeah, actually, you don't have to put your hand up. We all know you're a Costco fan, right? But those are the ones that you really need to take advantage of those, right? Use those methods. How can you buy more? Maybe do for favorable payments for longer commitments. One of the biggest ones that we've seen all the time is if you pay me faster, or actually we're gonna talk about it right now on collecting your sales. If you buy more or you do more, I'll give you a discount. And one of the ones for collecting your sales that leads me right into it, Ashley, is are you making sure you're collecting your money? Right? One of the biggest ones that Ashley and I saw all the time was your accounts receivables were 60 days out, 90 days out, 120 days out. At that point, it's like that you're not getting that money back. If they're 120 days out, you're probably not getting that money back. Right. But you have to make sure you make it easy and efficient for people to pay you. Right. So those are the type of things that we really try to tell people and then just make it easy for us. One of the easiest one is update your payment policies. If you don't take credit card payments on your website, think about that. A lot of people are going to be paying with credit card. A lot of people have it on your phone. I know I bought many things on Instagram because it was easy to do Apple Pay. Probably shouldn't have bought them, but I did, right? Because it was easy. Make that easier for your clients. Invoice faster, right? Mark on your accounts and mark up on your accounts receivable. Find a way to make that
Oh, lost you,
it.
Jose, cutting out.
Oh, am I really?
There you go.
I'm back. Oh, perfect. Ash, you want to help me with this? I'm gonna reset my router real quick.
So update your policies, monitor, follow up on accounts receivables. At the end of the day, we just want to create an efficient process of collecting funds. If you are getting a check and a return payment, what is your process of that? Are you setting limits to that? Are you saying, you know what? If it's late this time, we're not gonna be able to set checks, right? Monitor your bank accounts. These are all things that you have to pay attention to when you're collecting on your funds, and you have to have policies, and it's stated up there. Don't be afraid to say things up front, because the only person that it's going to hurt is going to be you and your business if you're bottlenecked or if you can't pay something on time. Because typically, again, cash flow, money comes in, money's going out. It's a circular motion. So if you're not collecting on it, or you're sending invoices in the mail versus electronically or different things like that, it's going to cause inefficiencies in your process, which is going to hurt your cash flow. And again, cash flow is what helps you get lending. It helps you have reserves. It helps your business to move forward and scale.
I'm back.
Okay, go ahead.
All
You
right.
can do that.
Perfect. Thank you guys. Sorry. So just think about a creative approach to generating revenue. Does anybody have once again, we want to open this up to everybody. A creative approach to generating revenue that you like to share. Has anybody said, I uncovered a different base, or maybe there's something out there? For 5 points, that's worth absolutely nothing at the end of the presentation.
I can get a
Anybody
high
have
five.
it?
You'll get a high five.
Oh, you get a high five.
Everybody's just taking cash. No one's flexing
Exactly.
on it.
Just killing it. I love it. I love it. It's all right. We can go to the next one, Ashley. All right. Ashley, want to help us out with this part?
So minimizing cash out, so the money that's leaving your business, are we looking at that? Knowing where and when cash goes out can help you right size your spending. If you're not keeping track of this, like if you don't have financial statements that you're looking at, like profit and loss statements, your balance sheet, if you're not looking at those on a regular basis, that can hurt you, right? You don't know what's going on. And then also look at the vendors, because you're somebody's customer too if you're buying things. Have you thought about negotiating favorable terms? So saying, if I pay you up front, can I get a 10% discount? Ask those questions, just like your customers are going to ask you, you ask those too. And then think about this. Has your business changed? Are there different things that maybe you need to do? Maybe you're outgrowing your CPA. They're not doing what you need to do. So you have to look at that. Are they still there? Marketing companies, are they really showing up for you? Do you see a difference in your marketing campaigns, right? Has your cash position changed? Are you able to pay for things up front or in cash, right? Understanding that. And could there be other options to meet your needs, like with your vendor relationships? Again, sometimes we outgrow things. Sometimes it's not working. It's business, it's not personal. And I feel like I have that conversation a lot with my businesses. Oh, I've been with them for years. They're great, blah, blah, blah. But what is the ROI? What are you getting back from the services that they are providing? That's something as a business owner you got to look at on a regular basis, because again, it affects your cash flow. And if we can minimize what's going out in the right way, I think it's a great thing to do and not be afraid of those things. So we have this tool in the workbook that will get sent out to you. It's called a vendor analysis. You go in there and you put your vendors in, you talk about how frequently, how much you're paying, what's the product, and it's going to kick out a tool. It's going to tell you, like, or not a tool, like a spreadsheet to tell you, hey, this is probably not a good day, or this one's costing you more. We have to be looking at this. This is what I call working on your business versus working in your business, because now we're taking a look at where my money is going. It's the same thing with like your personal, where they have all the tools now, everything that's being auto deducted, all of your gym memberships. I'm a bad person with that. I haven't gone to EOS Fitness in 4 months and it still comes out of my account, right? That's like money, but we have to do the same thing with our business. Same thing. Jose, I don't need your commentary on that one.
Sorry. I love hearing that.
So something thinking about also real estate. Do you still need a space? Are you currently renting or do you need to own? Are you looking at that? Have you looked at negotiating your lease? Do you even need to be in a space? A lot of times, we found out some people are coming back to the office, but there are a lot of people that realize they don't need a brick and mortar, right? It's having that understanding. So I think a lot of times, as entrepreneurs, we look at like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to have a brick and mortar. I'm supposed to have a storefront and all these different things. And really, you don't need that, especially if you don't have customers coming in, or maybe you're not open Monday through Sunday, right? Maybe you're open Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's like re-looking at those things. We have to start analyzing money that's going out from our business.
Kilo, an accident from
Spending.
Hold on 1 second.
Yes,
Hold on
someone.
1 second, Ash. I think somebody's on.
Here we go. It's
Okay,
okay.
perfect. Sorry. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. But looking at our spending, inventory ties up cash. And when you're going for lending, financial institutions will look at your inventory report. How long has things been sitting there? Especially like if you're in the food industry or things that are perishable that expires. Are we looking at that? Do we even have an inventory report so we can see how much is sitting there and how long it's been sitting there and how much am I losing money? Because inventory is money sitting there. And also it keeps track of like, is it selling fast enough? And do I have a good handle on what's coming in and out on the inventory side, right? That ties up cash. So we have to be able to look at those things holistically.
Actually, I'll tell you, for our food people out there, our restaurant people, that's a huge one. I think that's one of the biggest industry that we see a lot of waste, a lot of money, because obviously maybe you're buying too much produce or maybe you're buying too much meats and so forth and so on. Really get a handle of what it is and what you're selling, because obviously, that has an expiration date. Really, the perishable foods industry, that's a big one where we see a lot of loss on that part.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. We're not wasting money over here, right? We need to be
Mm-mm.
using our money the right way. And
Yeah,
this
no
comes
gym
to
memberships.
no, this comes back to my thing right here. This is a double-edged sword for me. I love hate marketing, right? I think it's good. But what I would tell people is when you're putting money out, what is your ROI? I would say this needs to be talked to. I have some businesses that they bring on a new marketing company. They're meeting with them every 30 days, looking at what their return is. If they're posting something, what was the engagement? How many people have visited their their website? Things like that. I would say after 90 days, if you're not seeing any uptick in your sales, you need to reevaluate your marketing and how much you're spending towards that and being more intentional, right, with what you're doing. That's money going out. We have to be assessing every part of our business on a regular basis and see what the ROI is. And not, when I say ROI, it doesn't necessarily always mean monetarily, but it could be an ROI. You're getting more exposure, you're getting more engagement. There's ROI. What are you getting back for the money that you're putting out? Regardless, we have to be looking at that. Even for yourself, we talked about that earlier about Jose said that about you. You are the business owner. Your time is money now. So even if you're going somewhere, what am I getting out of that? Is it going to help my business? Is it going to help my revenues? Things like that. Same thing with our vendors. We have to reassess that. So I'll
Perfect.
kick it
Let's
over to
bring it home.
Jose.
Let's bring it home, guys. So now that we learned about what is cash flow, once again, and maybe just because my background in the credits field, if you're looking to talk to a lender, we don't want to know about the money that sits in your account. We want to know how it works, right? We want to know what's coming in, what's going out, and you know it better than yourself, the health of your business. So take advantage of these tools that we're gonna set out in the digital. The best part, guys, is you don't have to be a client of Chase. You don't have to sign up for a credit card. You don't have to do any of that fun stuff. You don't even have to put in your personal information. These are tools that we're giving back to our communities, absolutely complimentary, because we want to make sure that you guys have like Ashley mentioned, a holistic look at your business. And this cash flow analysis tool, it's a great conversation piece when you're meeting with your CPA, when you're meeting with your banker, when you're meeting with this. And if you don't know who your banker or your CPA or your attorney is, you should probably go find another one. Guys, that's a big one that I will stand on my soapbox till the end of the day. So I hope everybody feels a lot more comfortable with what cash flow is. It's just understanding how the money moves in your business and where it's going to be. So if there is a great opportunity for you, if there isn't, if there's something there for you to take advantage of, you're not going to say no to a deal. You're not going to say no to an opportunity, to a catering event, to a large order, everything, because you don't have the funds for it. Right. So please take advantage of it. Have those conversations. And then I think that's going to be it for our presentation. But Ashley has a QR code for us. Oh, never mind. There's one more. There's one more question. I think about this for yourself. What cash flow strategy will you start with in the next week? Are you going to segment your customers? Are you going to look at your inflows, your outflow? Are you going to look at, how to maximize those relationship with the vendors, how to get things like that? So if there are any questions, please put it in the chat. We're going to stay on a little bit, Lauren. I think we're going to stay on a little bit longer, right?
Yeah,
So if anybody has any
absolutely.
questions, and then Ashley has the QR code for us that will have her contact information, all that good stuff. So thank you guys so much for your time. Ashley, thank you so much for helping us put this together.
I'm going to throw up a QR code. This is just, they just like to know how we did. If you guys were happy with what we did and what we talked about, or if we need to improve in it. Just like we tell our businesses, you always need to get feedback. So that's what we're going to do, is ask you for some feedback. Just select Phoenix. There you go. And that's our QR code. There's my contact information. Also, I can get you Jose's information as well. We work together. So whatever we can do to support you in your business journey, that's what we want to do. But thank you. We appreciate it. And if there's any questions, we would love to answer them.
Yeah. If anyone wants to know my birthday.
It's a quiet group. You guys are so quiet.
I don't blame him. I haven't had a coffee yet either.
We had someone in the chat talk about doing some subscriptions as
Oh.
one technique, and also making customer payment like options
Yes,
seamless. So they're using like PayPal, Apple Pay,
yes.
those types of things to reduce
So-
barriers, which seems like a
so-
really smart thing to understand about your
Jazzy,
customers.
come on.
I don't know.
Do you guys
Yes.
see those types of things being effective? And what are some other barriers that y'all have seen with people with that cash flow coming in the door?
So I saw this one recently. When people do a job, they don't put a notice for their contracts, right? So if you're gonna do a contract, one of the things I think a lot of people will do, and I'll give you an example. I have a landscape construction company that I'm working with. They're pretty large, and they're doing a lot of commercial properties. Well, as we're reviewing their contracts, one thing is they don't put a notice on there, like a 30-day notice, a 45-day notice, because then all of a sudden, like people just, end up canceling on the spot. Well, if that's a big one for you, and we're talking commercial properties are like $2,500 a month type of stuff, you should put that in there, because if you're going to commit to them, they should commit to you, or at least give you a 30-day notice, because then you can kind of adjust yourself. Because that's one thing that I've seen is a lot of people kind of get blindsided by that. And at the same time, that's also a learning experience for us. We always tell them if somebody's going to cancel with you, say, thank you so much. Is there anything we can do? And if you can't, find out why they're leaving you. So that's also a learning experience. So like even that QR code that Ashley put up on there, that's a questionnaire for us to just kind of find out what are we doing better, what can we do better, what are we doing well. But that's Lauren, that's what I'm seeing a lot for these businesses. For these is make sure if you're doing business, put a 30-day notice or something there.
I
Ash, your
love
thoughts?
subscription model. I think that's a great tool. I call that mailbox money because people sign up for it. Perfect example, Ashley has a EOS fitness membership and it comes out automatically. Does Ashley go to EOS all the time? No, but it's good. It makes it, I could not
Yeah,
access
can you put
that.
up can you put up your QR code real quick?
I'll put that back up. But those are just different ways of getting money where you don't think about it. Automatic payments that are coming out. And all businesses, if you go to your bank, there's what we call treasury management tools and cash management tools to help efficiencies. So you can set up automatic ACH where they're pulling from your customers, or set up payment plans to do things like that. Having Apple Bill Pay, Klarna, is it Klarna, where they do payment over time. Having those makes it a lot easier for people. I'm gonna take this from Jose. It is a microwave society. Everything has to be quick. We have like 30-second reels, right? Everything has to be quick. So having that accessible where I can just pay on my Apple, like Apple Pay, or like Cash App where it connects to Cash App. I did that recently when I bought a cake. It connected to Cash App. They hit a link in their email. I clicked it, it connected to my Cash App, and I paid them. I didn't have to get up, I didn't have to do anything. You want to make it as accessible and easy and give options for people to pay you, right? Versus it being always cash or check. I know a lot of people sometimes still take checks, but that stresses me out as a business owner, right? Because one, there's a lag time on that. Things could get returned, and things can get returned 7 to 10 business days later. We want to try to avoid those things so that we don't get bottlenecked, and so that we have the cash when we need it.
Yeah, you were right, Ashley. Talk to your banks. Your banks have a lot of tools, even the cash management, that they can help you collect on your fees. They can even give you like wiring instructions, depending if you're doing some large stuff, they can wire stuff like that. All that stuff right there will help you collect on your money. Did you talk about ACH origination?
No, I did not.
There's a thing that banks have called ACH origination, where you can literally go to your online banking with your client's permission, type in their routing and account number, and you can actually pull money from their account. Right. So if you have that monthly subscription, instead of waiting for them to pay you and send out invoices, you can just set up payment plans. Payment plans is another big one, right? Finance your own payment plans. I've had clients say, if you pay me today, it's $1,000, but we can set up a 4-month payment plan and it's going to be $1,300. Right. And then you just debit their account automatically. Those are different creative ways, but talk to your banks. Those are the ones who are going to give you a lot of tools to help you out with those.
And I threw this back up here, guys. This should be a better option for the QR code. Hopefully this one works. Let me know if it doesn't. And again, there's our contact information.
Yep.
Lauren, thank you so much. And if anybody needs anything, feel free to share our
Actually,
information as,
there was a great question for you.
oh yeah.
Are there any banks that lend to a business solely as a business, or is it always tied to their personal credit score?
Oh, yes, always. I would say we're like 95 to 96%. They're always going to look at you personally as a guarantor. They are going to look at your credit, and it's going to be based off of credit and your business financial data. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any offer, like I've been in like 20 years, I've not seen where we waived a guarantor unless you're like a Target where you have multiple shareholders or like a
Mhm.
huge corporation. They're going to ask for that because at the end of the day, like we said that before, you as an owner, you're the business, and the way you run your
Mhm.
business, your leadership, how you handle your personal is going to be a good indicator of how you run the business. And also, like, it's just other payment resources. Something were to happen, they want to know that you have basically some skin in the game, and it just holds you accountable to that. And in some cases, some people don't care and they just do whatever they want, but it's supposed to be holding you accountable. So, and I also have heard about like, business credit versus personal credit. I can tell you that I think business credit's good, but I have never not approved a customer based because they didn't have business credit. It was always based off of their personal credit is what we weighed heavily on.
So just so we're clear, everybody, um, a lender will check your personal credit for the first time to get you approved, and then the loan will then be set up under the business.
Yes.
So if you pull your personal credit and you're like, "Oh, I have a business loan, so it's going to show up on my personal credit," it does not. It does not reflect. They just check it to make sure that you have a good repayment history.
Mhm.
That's it. So it doesn't show up on there.
Mhm.
I think I hope we clarified that, and if we didn't, please let us know. But
Yes.
just keep that in mind. They check it. Now, if you are kind of worried about your personal credit, there are a lot of alternative financial institutions that can actually give lending. There's one that I work with that has done 600 credit score, like the low 600s.
Oh,
So there are different options out there. Just because you get to know there's different options out there, or maybe you're too new in business, don't have 2 years tax returns, all that fun stuff. There's alternative lending. And if you guys have questions on that, please reach out to Ashley. Her contact information is on the screen for you guys. She has a lot of lenders that can help you guys out depending on your situation. But yes, just I hope we clarified that question. It does not stay on your personal credit report. They just check it one time to make sure you're good at paying money back, and then if you are, then it all reflects on the business.
yes, that is correct. Thanks, Jose, for clarifying.
Another question I thought was great, as a physical product company, inventory. That's something that can be really expensive to kind of keep on the books, but obviously our customers expect that we have inventory, ready to sell. Any strategies that you guys have found work well?
It's a balancing act, right? So it's understanding, usually I would say in the beginning stages of a business, that they have a product, it's going to be kind of like a test trial. You're going to kind of weigh that out. But that's where the inventory reporting comes in, because then you understand, all right, in the summertime, I understand I go down, right? So I'm going to keep minimal. Maybe I'll keep like a 10% buffer or product or different things like that, because I know that's how that's going to work. And then also having a good relationship with whoever your vendor is. So if you run out of product, what is your turn time on that? Understanding that. I think it's more case by case depending on your product, but I think it's also having a strategy. Again, understanding your seasonalities, understanding
Mhm.
your peak seasons, and then having that open dialogue with your vendor and understanding that time span. How quickly can I get that? What does that
Mhm.
look like? And then creating some sort of buffer. I'm not saying you have to have like keep a stockpile of stuff, but keep some extra there that can maybe tide you over for 2 weeks during that time when you need to do something. That would be my opinion. I think it's case by case
Mhm.
depending on the individual.
Yeah, I don't think you nailed it, Ashley. It's having that. How fast can I get it? And then also, like, if you haven't taken a moment to take back, go look at all your prior sales and find
Mhm.
out. When I ordered 10 of these widgets, how long did it take me to sell them?
Yep.
And that's gonna give you a little heads up on it. But yeah, having a good connection. Somebody called me out. Jose, you mentioned charging fairly or paying yourself fairly for providing a service. Any tips on how to achieve that? So we'll talk about the ones charging fairly. Find out where your clients are, what your competition is doing. Find out where you're at in the market, right? Find out what type of brand you are. Find out what type of logo mark you want to make out there, right? And maybe because I'm hungry or something, but I'll bring up the burgers again, right? McDonald's has their product, right? There has their quarter pounder with cheese, no onions for me. But you have that product, right? But then you can go to like an Oso, or you can go to one of these, and they charge you $15-20 for a burger. That's a completely different product, right? But you're also paying for the experience. You're paying for, the atmosphere. You're paying for everything that goes into it. Where McDonald's, you're just paying for quick in and out. The chairs are really hard. It's not really somewhere you want to lounge for 2 or 3 hours, where Oso is. So knowing where you're at in the market and knowing what your product is going to help you determine which route you want to go. And then paying yourself fairly. One of the things that I always say is, how much is your time worth, right? As you get started, obviously the dollars aren't going to be the same as, we're talking about CEOs or talking people running, but also think to yourself and say, well, how much time am I spending? Right? Your drive time. Calculate your hours, calculate your time. And even if you were to pay yourself $15 an hour, throw a random number out there. Great. But it took me an hour to get there. I did a 30-minute job, an hour back. I put 60 miles on my car. That's wear and tear on your personal car. That's insurance you're also carrying on your car. I mean, you really have to take a moment and step back and analyze the whole picture, not just, oh, in 30 minutes, I worked 30 minutes and I made $200. Well, did you really make $200? No, because you drove for 2.5 hours. You did all this stuff. You had supplies. You did whatever your service is or your product or whatever it is. That's what I'm saying. Paying yourself.
I would
Christian is to
also
pay
add,
yourself.
sorry.
It's that's what it is. No, go ahead, please. That was it.
I was gonna say in that cash flow analysis tool, I tell people this, put your salary in there. How much would you want to make?
Yeah.
It may not happen right away, but that has to be top of mind as we're doing this. We talk to so many business owners and they're talking about numbers and their product and this stuff, but they don't think about them because you
Yeah.
still have a personal life to maintain. And if you're in your business full time, that's how it starts getting convoluted, where you just start pulling from your business because you haven't been proactive of like saying, all right, this month I want to give myself $2,000 a month. All right. And then going to the second month, all right, I'm going to increase it to 25 based off your sales, knowing what my personal budget is. We have to start putting that in there. So when you're doing these things and doing projections, you put your salary in there. Look at the industry. You are the business owner. You have to survive, right? We're not doing this for hobbies at this point, right? We're doing this so that
Mhm.
it can maintain a lifestyle. And if you don't start calculating and putting that in, you're going to shortchange yourself. And then you end up just pulling from your business in ways that you shouldn't. So do it up
Yes.
front. And again, like Jose said, it could be a gradual increase, but also research. If I'm a physician, I have my own practice, I'm going to look at what is the normal hourly rate for a physician? What is the normal hourly rate for a CPA or a consultant? Look at that and start seeing where you fall into that and then input that in. But do not shortchange yourself. As business owners, you put yourself last. Don't do that. You need to maintain your personal lifestyle and you need to do that. It may not happen right away, but you got to work towards it. And if you don't put it out there, then you're just never gonna do it.
If you're looking for some more insight, I'm gonna throw it out there, Ashley. Please don't kill me. We talked about a vertical IQ tool that banks have that gives us all this information about every industry. If you know your NACES code, okay. Um, Ashley, you wanna throw your email on the chat again? Send it to Ashley, your NACES code, the name of your business, your NACES code. And if you don't mind giving us a couple
What did
days
you
just
say,
because
Sean?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I think someone just off me.
Oh, okay. Send it to us and we will give you that. We'll email it back to you directly.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what your NACES code, oh, thank you so much. Somebody just put in the chat. Who is somebody? Oh, that's Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. If you It's just an identifier number that pretty much you put that in there and it tells you like what type of industry you're in. and we'll send it to you. It's a digital one. It's like 50 pages per industry, so get ready for some awesome reading. But if you send it through there, it'll give you the insight of what we're seeing in the industry. It'll even give you like current news, like what's gonna happen, what's moving on. And it's a great one for you, especially if you're starting like a business plan and they want the information, the industry insights. It's a great tool. Take advantage of it. Actually very nice, but just give her a couple of days. I know she's a little busy with her
We'll get
stripes
it
on
to you.
today, but she'll get it to you here shortly, guys.
No, we'll get it for you. It's not a problem at all. I think it's good to have this, just to educate yourself, to understand how the landscape is changing, how your industry is doing, and then it'll talk about payments, how you're getting paid. It'll give you all of that,
Mm-hmm.
because you guys need to pay yourselves.
Yeah, I do
At
pay
some
some.
point, you need to pay yourselves. It can't do that, because also lenders want to know that you have also income coming in, and they account for that as well.
Yeah, perfect. Any other questions? Anything? I know we're coming up to time, so we want to be respectful of everybody's morning. For those non-coffee people, we need to go get coffee, right? But any questions? Anything else?
I see one about your thoughts on Clearbank over others helping with cash flow. This is not a familiar name for me. Maybe for you guys, you know Clearbank, but it says for 1% interest, they pay all your accounts payable for you. Coming from Jacob. And maybe if we need more clarity there, we can also bring Jacob off mute if you're willing to do that, Jacob.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them, but what
Yeah,
I
I
would
don't know.
always say, because there's all kind of fintech companies, all kinds of people that come up, just do your research. Make sure you read
I
the
can't hear
fine.
you, Ashley.
Oh, can you hear me? No?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Just make sure you read the fine print. That's my biggest thing that I would tell you is there's all kinds of different ways where people like PayPal does a loan or QuickBooks does a loan. They have different promotions, or this Clearbank I'm not familiar with, but just do your research and read the fine print, because you don't want to get into a situation where they're saying we'll give you 1% right now, and then next year they bump up the rate, or the fees are extremely high, or they make you take a percentage of your sales every time someone swipes. There's different things. Just make sure you do your due diligence with any type of product, and especially for lending. That would be my recommendation, because there's a lot of options out there that get you quick money, but sometimes it's not always the best option. Just do your research. If that's a good option, they're going to do it, and it's great, you feel comfortable with it. Or maybe you want to call one of us, or call like a trusted advisor for you to research that, I would do that. But that would be my opinion. I'm not familiar with Clearbank.
Yeah, I haven't heard it, so I'll plead the fifth. I just don't know enough about it to comment on it. Perfect. Any questions? Anything else? Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. You guys spending your time with us. And I know, Ashley, I'll speak on your behalf. We applaud each and every one of you for taking the time to work on your business, not in your business, right?
Yes.
So we do applaud you guys so much, and thank you so much. And we're here for you. Any resources, Lauren, everybody at Seed Spot, thank you guys so much. Looking forward to this, and obviously we're not done yet. There's, I think, a couple more presentations that you guys are all in store for. So very happy for everybody. Thank you so much.
Have a great week and keep going.
I have a question. I
Oh
have a
yeah.
question. Yeah. So, you said, working on your business and in your business. Can you, do you have someone that could talk a little bit more about that process? Um, for example, because I had a fractional CEO. Uh, she was the chief operational specialist for me, but I practically were doing all the work. And she was explaining, infrastructure is really the key, where a lot of business owners, they don't make it past the 5-year mark. Some people get bought out. Some business crash. They have good products, but that's simply because they didn't have a good infrastructure put in place. And then you have individuals who are very short-sighted, and so they end up finding themselves being like, doing the technical work and the managerial work, and never really transition to being like a founder or even a CEO. So, I wanted just to kind of hear somebody kind of like speak to how did they make that transition from, or if you ever had to do that. Some people, they started off to where they were just the founders and business co-founders, or people came in on board later on. You know, it's kind of speaking to that process. Because not everybody had that. Some people just had people already had like a structured leadership for it already. And some people had to grow and do everything.
Absolutely. Ashley, you want to take this one? This is
Yeah.
your passion.
What I would say the difference is working in your business, working on it to get to that point is that when you're working in your business, you have no infrastructure. You're just in the business. You're like, say I'm a baker, I'm just baking stuff. I'm not looking at my books. Not looking at my bank account. I have no reserves in place. I don't know what type of org I want. I don't know anything. I'm just working in my business day to day. And that's completely fine for some people. But you will hit a point where you'll get stifled and you will hit a ceiling and you'll have a hard time scaling because you have no foresight of where you're going. And that's what leaders and CEOs, they can do. They create strategy to then grow your business. So when you start working on your business by looking at your numbers, customer segmentation, understanding your market research, understanding your pricing, preparing for a line of credit or preparing to buy a building, preparing to put people in place, infrastructure. That is the difference. Working on your business is when you're being proactive and being intentional with your growth and creating strategy. Working in your business, you're throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping it sticks. That's the easiest way I can do it. I know Jose did not know that terminology before because he's never cooked spaghetti, but that's the easy terminology. We don't want to just throw stuff against the wall and see if it works. We want to have a strategy in place so that we're working intentionally and we're being proactive versus reactive. That would be the biggest, the most simplistic way I can say the difference is in that. And I think all business owners at some point need to start getting to working on their business versus just being in the day to day.
Yeah. And Lauren put a great one on March 21st, I believe. There's a great one from I forgot what it was called, but the other way from owner to CEO. And we always say this: when you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you wear every hat. You're HR, you're the employee of the month every month. You are the owner, you're the CEO, you're everything. But what you have to know, like once you have those titles, you wear a different hat. And like Ashley was mentioning, if you're baking, you're a baker, great. That's all your focus is. But what are you doing for your business to help it grow? Because you don't want to be the only employee, you don't want to be the only banker, you want to make it grow. So I thank you actually for explaining that. And Jamal, thank you so much for that question. That's a great one. And I would definitely say take advantage of that presentation on March 21st. I think that'd be a good one.
All right, yeah, thank you. That kind of confirms that the way I'm going is good. Having that team role matrix is a good setup. Having a kind of like an onboarding system for clients and an onboarding system for employees and the operations and the hiring process set up before even really getting ready to expand, it would be a good start, you would say, right?
Yes,
All right,
100%.
awesome. Cool.
Build the shell and then start building it out and inside.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you to our speakers for joining. There is another session with them, as well as thank you for offering your time as mentors. So keep running the bases, get that mentorship session in through the program. And if you have more burning questions for them, you can set up some time with them. And then, like I said, check out the schedule. The link was dropped in the chat, and I will re-drop it one more time. You just want to go directly to the schedule. And there are additional classes that spin off of this topic. So we will see you there.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your week, guys. See you in a couple weeks, I think. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.